Can I ask you something? All these memories and timelines. How do you decide what's real? Look around, figure out what you believe is true right now, and just commit to it.
Peace, peace. Now's the vibrate. Y'all know what it is. Want to talk about dimensional layers in connection with some people not knowing that they are, in essence, your enemies. And again, we've used the quote before, I have no enemies, and enemies, like different little ways of perceiving quote unquote enemies as more so, necessary challenges that are there to help you. But for the most part, their purpose is not to be in alignment with making it easy for you to do what you do and supporting what you do, more so being a challenge or a quote unquote roadblock, and again, in order to maintain an undefeatable mind frame, instead of calling these people, places, or things enemies, we may again call it again, a challenge to strengthen our resolve, our resilience. But for the most part, on just a plain layman's term, just being direct about it, it is in essence an enemy because it's not trying to help you. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily like, say for instance, like the resistance that we get from like going to the gym. You go to the gym, you put weight or resistance against your muscles so you can strengthen your muscles. But then you got, say for instance, again, you trying to walk somewhere and something trying to break your leg. You know what I'm saying? Like, that ain't necessarily, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course, you're going to grow from that situation of having to get past somebody trying to break your leg while you're walking. But at the same time, that's not necessarily, again, supportive of you walking and trying to, you getting where you got to go. But what I want to get into, I just wanted to fully explain that. But again, different dimensions within our experience, and how some people may know they're being your enemy in essence, or know they're doing shit to kind of throw you off your path. But then some people are not aware of it, and I'll say that maybe there is a sense where they are a little aware. Because what I realized too, like sometimes, like especially like those that may be your enemies in the form of somebody from your childhood, let's say for instance, you know what I'm saying? There's an energy within, both of you, from your childhood that's like not trying to see each other as, contrasting entities, aka, oh man, that's so and so, we grew up together. They not trying to stop me from being my greatest version, and vice versa. They like, oh man, so and so, he or she ain't trying to, stop me. You know what I'm saying? Like, we may tell ourselves in an optimistic way, like, oh, so and so not trying to harm me or not trying to, be a distraction. But ultimately they are, you know what I'm saying? But is a part of us like that, you can almost say our inner child, within the essence of that dimension of both of our inner childs that, you could still say are friends because, again, the past is right now as well. So, there's a dimension of that energy, again, saying like, oh man, they ain't trying to harm us, or, like that wishful thinking, from holding on to the past aspect of like, man, we was best friends in the past, you know what I'm saying? Like, we was in kindergarten, man, we would do everything together, you know what I'm saying? So, there's that wishful thinking energy that tries to prevent, I say try to prevent, but, that's like trying to kind of put the blinders on and not see that like, well, no, hey, this person is a distraction, although they are your childhood friends, you know, or somebody you've known from your past. They still may be doing things or in alignment with energies that are, you know, again, distracting or harmful to what it is that you're here to do in this lifetime. And with that being said, you know, and also connecting that to, you know, everything, everywhere, all at once. Is it Everything, Everywhere? Yeah. But that movie, again, one of the best movies that just, you know, showing the multi-dimensional aspect of our experience. But with experiencing multiple dimensions at once, you know, and some of us being able to see through, you know, these multiple dimensional aspects, you know, where we could sense like, although so-and-so being nice to us, or from a physical 3D perspective, they seem like they're trying to help us with certain things, you know what I'm saying? But in essence, the help they're offering ain't necessarily propelling you towards where you need to be. So it comes off as a nice gesture on, you know, let me say a 3D level, but just again, like from the physical, you know, just straight physical perspective, but in the layers of in the multi-dimensional layers in the multiverse, again, just like Evelyn and her daughter Joy, you know, were having all kind of different fights or different type of relationships in different dimensions. Excuse me. But in one dimension, you know, she's the mama. Evelyn's her mom. Joy is her daughter. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, trying to work things out and be together in this one dimension, but then on multiple dimensions, she actually trying to, you know what I'm saying, trying to harm her in essence. You know, and sometimes we could pick up on these energies when connecting with certain people where, you know, again, on a physical plane level, on the 3D level, it just seems as nice gestures, you know, that certain things that they're doing, but then on a whole nother dimension, you know, they're actually trying to off you. And also seeing that within our experience, you know, again, we're experiencing these multiple dimensions in this one moment, and like certain little things could be connecting to another dimension, like certain little symbols, certain little things we see, but just not going too far off into it right now. Just the simple aspect of, like, again, realizing that some people may come off as, you know, like, oh, they're not trying to harm me. Oh, it seems as though they're, you know, being helpful. But then on another dimension, you know, they actually trying to off you, you know what I'm saying? And maybe it's, again, and what I'm getting at. So with them not realizing that they are your enemy, because that's what the premise we're speaking on. Like, basically, they're not necessarily all the way tapped into that dimension of themselves that actually, like, you know, is trying to harm you in another dimension. So they not really seeing it or picking up on it, compared to you might be in a space where you are seeing that dimension, you connecting with that dimension of yourself, and you seeing it in them, you know, and you see that, oh, in this dimension, you're actually trying to harm me. You know what I'm saying? While, again, on a physical level, you know, it doesn't seem like it, and they're not connected to that dimension, so they not really feeling like that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's one way on a dimensional level where somebody may, again, be presenting something that seems helpful, but in the grand scheme of the multiverse, they're actually somebody that is harmful towards what you're doing. And in another dimension, you know, they are trying to actually, you know, harm you in so many ways. But that's why it's up to you, what I'm saying, to know what's going on, to recognize within yourself, recognize like intuitively, like, hey, you're not just, because this is why it be so important for us to tap into these energies and to align with people who are aware of these things. Because if we are aligning with people who, don't believe in multiple dimensions, or not even say you're aligning with people, you're staying around people who don't believe in multiple dimensions, don't believe in, certain things that you done went through and realized are true. And again, your environment is a reflection of your own energy. Maybe you're in a energy where you're either being afraid of the truth of the spiritual realm, or you're doubting certain truths of the spiritual realm. So you end up being in an environment around people who don't believe in these things or doubt that these things are true. But ultimately, it is true. And recognizing again that some beings may not be tapped into that dimension where they're trying to harm you, so they don't see it as them, themselves trying to harm you. And it's up to you to be aware of that and to make sure that you're moving in accordance with what's best for you. Hence why you got to know yourself to the fullest, know who you are. You know what I'm saying? It's not up for somebody else to tell you who you are. You know what I'm saying? You got to know what's up. You got to trust your intuition and, know these multiple dimensional layers of, what's going on in experience. And again, multi-dimensional, but in the present moment, in the now moment, all these layers, all these dimensions are being experienced right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like being aware of that, but I'm going to just keep it at that. And we going to, dive into other multiple dimensional aspects or multiverse aspects, or should I say, nuances in certain relationships dealing with, being a multi-dimensional being, you know what I'm saying? But that's just one, to be aware of. But peace.